Broncos, Children of All Ages, everyone on YouTube, Facebook, the House of Nordham Han Sports Channel 68, the TLC, The Last Call, and of course, a group that I joined a few weeks ago, the NFL YouTube Prognosticators. Hopefully I said that correctly. It is the DOUG here once again, and it's time for my picks, but before we go there, I have a lot of notes, playoff scenarios, and a recap of last week. So here we go. In Week 16, the Giants lost to the Eagles, but the Giants did clinch a playoff spot thanks to a Saints victory over the Buccaneers. Dolphins beat the Bills, hoping their chances, and they did clinch thanks to the Ravens' loss. Patriots beat the Jets. The Jaguars beat the Titans. Packers beat the Vikings. The Browns get their first one of the year over the Chargers. Congratulations to Cleveland. Redskins beat the Bears, keeping their hope alive. Falcons beat the Panthers. They win their division thanks to their win, and the Bucs lost to the Saints. Raiders beat the Colts, but they did lose a quarterback. I'll explain later. Like I just said, the Buccaneers lost to the Saints. Seahawks lost to the Cardinals because of their field goal kicker. Rams lost to the 49ers because the defense imploded. Texans beat the Bengals, clinching the division for themselves because the Titans lost. The Steelers beat the Ravens, giving the Steelers the third seed in the NFC. Ravens have been eliminated. Chiefs not only got a playoff berth for themselves, they also got one from Miami after they defeated the Denver Broncos. And of course, Monday night, the Cowboys put the Lions' playoff hopes in jeopardy as the Cowboys won on Monday night. So for Week 16, I went 10-6. But for the season, I am 153 in wins, 85 in losses, and those 2 ties. Now let's get to the notes for this week. Boop, boop. First, Raiders quarterback Derek Carr is done for the season and will miss the playoffs after he suffered a broken fibula. In better words, he broke his leg. 4-year pro Matt McClown, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, will take over as starting quarterback for the rest of the way. Also, Titans quarterback, Mariota is done for the season after he suffered a fractured right fibula. Matt Castle starts for QB when the Titans play the Texans. Cardinals running back David Johnson tied Barry Sanders with 15 straight 100-yard games. He can break the record on Sunday when the Cards face the Rams. Question is, will they let him? The Sunday night game, the end Week 17, will be the Packers and Lions. It will be for the NFC North title, and there's a couple of scenarios that we'll get into for that in a little bit. So a good Sunday night game to end on, I would say. For the 49ers running back Carlos Hyde will miss the last game of the season after he tore his MCL on Saturday. I believe he's still missing this. Browns can win the first pick in the NFL draft with a loss to the Steelers. However, if the Browns do beat the Steelers and the 49ers lose, the Niners will get the first pick in the draft. So keep that in mind. Also, Chiefs defensive tackle D. Pope is now the heaviest player in NFL history with a touchdown pass. He also is the heaviest person to get a running touchdown. Poe is listed at 346 pounds. Congratulations to the big man. And before we get to the question of the video, yesterday the Bills fired head coach Rex Ryan. They also fired their defensive coordinator Rob Ryan. So the Ryans are done in Buffalo. And they also benched QB T. Taylor. My question of the video for you guys is, who is your MVP and why? For me, I would have said Derek Carr, but because he got injured, I'm going to go with probably the guy who will win Rookie of the Year this year, Ezekiel Elliott. I think, granted, I would love to give it to the Cowboys offensive line, but I can't. If I have to choose somebody who's not on the Cowboys, I'm going to go with Matt Ryan. Of course, I know some people say, why not pick Tom Brady? I have a rule that's, my rule is, if you've been suspended for anything, I don't think you should get the MVP that year. He was suspended. You may not agree with it, but that's my rule. If you don't like it, take it up with somebody who cares. So yeah, that's all the notes this week, guys. And I will say this: I do expect more firings to come this week. I think. How can I say this? I think the only other team that would be fired from the NFC, because I think there will be one, will be the Bears. I would not be surprised by that. As far as for the NFC, I'm going to say San Diego. And the New York Jets fired their head coach as well after this week. Now let's get to some playoff scenarios, because there's still some, believe it or not. Yes, it is funny. We're going to start with the AFC. The Patriots are 13-2. They can win the number 1 seed by beating the Dolphins this weekend, or by a Raiders loss. The Raiders can get the number 2 seed and the West with a win or a loss by the Chiefs. Raiders can win the 1 seed with a win and a Patriots loss. However, the Raiders can also get stuck with the 5th seed if they lose and the Kansas City Chiefs win. The Steelers are 10-5. They cannot move up. They will either play the Dolphins or the Chiefs in wildcard weekend. Texans are 9-6. They will either face the Chiefs, Raiders, or the Dolphins, depending what happens. I say that for this reason. Like I just said, if the Chiefs win and the Raiders lose, Chiefs will not only win the AFC West, but will also lock up the number 2 seed with a win and a Raiders loss. Dolphins can win the 5th seed with a win over the Patriots and a loss by the Chiefs. If that does not happen, Dolphins will be playing at Pittsburgh. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I will be honest, if I was the Dolphins or the Chiefs, I think the team I would like to face on wildcard would be the Texans. I think that's the easier team to beat. I think the Steelers would be a little bit more difficult to beat. Texans would be the easier one you would want, because it'd probably be an easy victory. I have a feeling when whoever faces the Texans, everybody's going to be taking the visiting team on that one. You're going to jump to the NFC now. Cowboys are 13-2 of the number 1 seed, no matter what. So don't be surprised if they rest some of their players this week. The Falcons at 10-5 can lock up the number 2 seed with a win or losses by the Seahawks and Lions. Seahawks at 9-5-1 can win the number 2 seed with a win and a loss by the Falcons. Can win the 3rd seed outright with a win. The Packers can win the North with a win. Can also get the 3rd seed with a win and a Seahawks loss. Can win a playoff spot with a Redskins loss as well. Giants at 10-5 will play the 4th seed. They can't move down. They can't move up. Right now, the 6th seed is the Lions. They can win the North and the 4th seed with a win over the Packers. They can win the 3rd seed with a win and a loss by the Seahawks or Falcons. And the Lions, believe it or not, yes, can win the number 2 seed with a win and losses by the Seahawks and Falcons respectively. Can also lock up a playoff spot with a Redskins loss. Redskins at 8-6-1 can win the 6th seed with a win or a tie and a Packers loss. Now, Buccaneers can still get in as well, but they need a lot of stuff to go their way. They did get the one thing to go their way on Monday night, Cowboys beating the Lions, but they need a lot more stuff to happen. It's like a 0.2% chance of them making it, but there's a chance. I don't think it's going to happen, but we shall see. Alright, getting to these week's games, in no particular order, we're going to start off with the ones we see here. The Saints and Falcons. I got the Falcons at home. They're playing for a number 2 seed. They do not want to give that up. They want a home game. So I think Falcons will win this one. I do think, though, the Saints will be very important to see what happens with them. It's going to be interesting. Next is the Ravens traveling to Cincinnati. Not really an important game. It is a rivalry game, but neither team's really playing for much. Bengals, we're all trying to figure out what's going to happen there. There's talks that they may fire their head coach or he may leave. Ravens, I think they're working to rebuild. They almost made the playoffs this year, so they're trying to at least get a winning record and then figure out what they could do differently. I think Ravens win this one, and I think the Ravens' biggest problems were this year was not a good running game. They had one of the worst ones in my opinion. And that's just my opinion, If you disagree with it, hey, fine. We all got opinions like assholes. Moving on into what is my upset pick of the week. I got the Redskins over the Giants. Giants are not playing for anything. This is another one of those situations where the Giants are just playing for pride. They really can't move up in the seeding, can't move down. They're stuck at the 5th seed no matter what. Redskins need this win to keep playoff hopes, to get a playoff spot pretty much. If they lose, they're done. It'd be game over. Lions and Packers going respectively. And then it comes interesting because, and this is why I said this is funny to agree, if the Redskins lose and Tampa Bay don't get it, there's a strong possibility that you could see the Packers and Lions face off in Wild Card Weekend, depending what happens. If Packers were to lose Sunday, but Redskins lost and Tampa didn't do what they needed to do, Packers would be the 6th seed, but the 4th seed would be Detroit, depending what happens with the Seahawks and Falcons as well. It depends on that. Be funny, though. But like I said, I got the Redskins in an upset. Moving on to the Texans at Tennessee. I got the Texans here. Texans, we're going to see how good they are. Titans, they at least want to play the war spoiler in the sense of send Houston to the playoffs with a loss. I think Texans will do good enough to beat the Titans, who do not have Mariota. Matt Kelsey, not a bad quarterback, but I don't think you're going to get anything done. It's a rivalry game. There's pride on the line. That's pretty much about it. I got Texans, though. Panthers at Buccaneers. Panthers really disappointing. I think it's one of the few times in history that we've actually seen the Super Bowl defending champions and the runners-up both miss the playoffs. I'm trying to remember the last time that happened. If somebody can put in the comment section when the last time that happened, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm taking Tampa here. I think they are the far better team. And I will say this, I think next year this division will be very interesting to watch with the Falcons, Saints, Bucks, and Panthers, because you can make the case all 4 teams are good. But right now, I got to say Buccaneers are on the up and up, and they'll end on a high note. The Sunday night game, which we're going to talk about now because that's what it says here on the schedule, I got the Packers beating the Lions. Sorry, Detroit, you look terrible. You don't have a run game. Matthew Stafford cannot do it all on his own. Green Bay wins. Moving on. I got the Colts beating the Jaguars. Jaguars, I will give them credit. They did beat the Titans, but I think the Colts are playing for a little bit of pride, and Andrew Luck wants to show he's still good. Moving on to the Patriots and Dolphins. I got the Patriots here. Patriots are playing for a number 1 seed. Dolphins already in. They'll at least maybe want to try to move it to the 5th seed, but you know damn well if the Patriots are trying to get the number 1 seed, they're playing all their starters. Patriots win. Moving on, it's the Bears traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. I'm taking the Vikings here. I think they'll end on a high note. And hopefully, if they're smart, during the draft or during the offseason, they concentrate on that offensive line. It is one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen in the NFL. But I would say the Colts are worse in that department, but Vikings are near pretty bad in that department as well. Bills versus Jets. This is interesting because originally I would have had the Bills outright winning, but there are a few problems. Coach, like I just said, Bills fired their head coach, defensive coordinator. They're benching the starting quarterback. Jets, really, I don't know what they're playing for. They may lose on purpose so they can get a decent draft pick in the first round. Bills are trying to at least go 8-8 to get it to stay at 5 to go to 500. To stay in that happy medium. Well, you didn't do bad, but you didn't do great. You get a C+, C- at best. I'm with the Bills here. I just feel like they got a better running game, and their defense is better. Moving on, okay, Cowboys and Eagles. Yeah, I got my Cowboys. Moving on to my lock of the week. It is the Steelers taking on the Cleveland Browns. I am taking Pittsburgh here. Granted, Pittsburgh may rest some of their starters because of the fact of they can't really move up. They're stuck at the seed they're at. They can't move up to the number 2. And I'm going to pose this question. Does Pittsburgh lose this game on purpose? And Andrew, before you say, oh no, they won't, just listen, hear me out. Remember what I said a few minutes ago before when I was going over the notes. Cleveland can get the number 1 seed with a loss, but if the Browns win and the 49ers lose, 49ers, from what I was told, would go to the number 1 draft pick. So wouldn't Pittsburgh, just to say, hey, Cleveland, go yourself, wouldn't they want to lose on purpose so Cleveland gets cheated out of a draft, the first pick in the draft? I'm sure I think the number 1 person who's expected to go is the guy from LSU. I'm sure if you asked him, would you rather play in Cleveland or would you rather play in San Francisco? To be honest, if it was me and those were my 2 choices, I would retire and go work at a donut shop, but that's just me. But I still take the Steelers anyway. I think they're going to want to go in with and win. Moving on to the Cardinals taking on the Rams. I'm going to take the Cardinals here, and yes, I do believe we will see the record broke. He will get, we'll see the 16th 100-plus yard rushing game, so we're going to see a new record, so that is good. So good job to him. By the way, in case if you don't remember who I'm talking about, that was the notes. Here we go. Dave Johnson will break the record. There you go. I think that will happen. So go Cardinals on that one. Up next, it is the Raiders taking on the Broncos. And by the way, before I continue, just make sure if you're looking for one of these games to watch, look up the time in your area, because the Week 17 in Madden does not match up. I got the Raiders, though, winning this one. You know, they are using a backup quarterback, but I think they're still the better team. Chiefs and Chargers, I got Kansas City. I think Kansas City will go in on a good high. They'll beat San Diego. We'll probably hear the Chargers fire their head coach right after the game. And the Chiefs will start preparing to kill the Houston Texans. And then, of course, the last pick of this week, it is the Seahawks going to San Francisco. I think Seahawks are trying to win this game so they can get the number 2 seed because they can still get it. I'm taking Seattle. I think they'll bounce back from the loss to Arizona. San Francisco, to be honest, they're just playing for a draft pick. They want to stay in that top 3 area. So, my picks are Cowboys, Ravens, Texans, Buccaneers, Colts, Patriots, Vikings, Bills, Steelers, Falcons, Redskins, Cardinals, Raiders, Chiefs, Seahawks, and the Green Bay Packers getting a win in this final week of the season. Let me know what you think of the picks. Do you guys agree or disagree? Let me know. And by the way, I'd like to give a shout out to all the people that have commented during the NFL season. I thank you for that. I also like to give a shout out to Ann and Andrew, big Steelers fans. I'm sure they are very happy the Steelers won. Also shout out to my mom. I know she's a little upset the Ravens did not make it this year, but you know, you can't make it all the time. I also shout out to Captain Ron of The Last Call and Mr. T-Shawn Jones of the Face Off Network. And a shout out to Mr. Clark as well, the big old Dolphins fan. I know he's happy. He'll be watching the Patriots and Dolphins game very closely this weekend. A shout out to everyone else on the House of Nerdum, Han Sports Channel 68, the YouTube Apothecators and all that. So until I see you for the wild card picks, which by the way will be done Monday, January 2nd. Let me just make sure that is the correct date. Cell phones, they're good for you. Yeah, January 2nd will be the wild card picks. As many of you know, I am heading up to MagFest. I will be leaving Wednesday the 4th to get up there. I'm going up a day early. So there will be picks on Monday. There will be no videos Tuesday. So pretty much after Monday, Monday, January 2nd will be the day for videos, be the only day for videos. This Tuesday I'll be finishing up packing, getting the van packed and ready that night. And then Thursday heading up to the National Harbor. So, until next time, this is the DOUG signing off saying thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed us. And I will see you, and hopefully I'll have some more guests for the wild card predictions. Who do we have winning in the wild card? Y'all find out. Till then, this is the DOUG signing off saying thank you for watching, and Happy New Year, everybody.